Hello, my dear students. I welcome you all again to our channel. Since long, I was unable to upload the videos due to certain reasons, but now onwards, we'll have regular videos of various different concepts in the biology. In that context, I have decided to prepare the videos of chapter number 8 from 11th standard of CBSE, that is cell, the unit of life. Okay. So in this chapter, we'll talk about the different aspects of the cell. Okay. So in this very video, we'll talk about what is cell. Okay. What is cell, right? So let us discuss brief regarding certain introductory part, some introductory part before knowing what is cell. When you look around, you will see lot of different things. You will see living things. You will also see non-living things. Okay. You will observe आप लोग लिविंग थिंग्स देखते हो, आप लोग नॉन लिविंग थिंग्स भी देखते हो. जैसे कि अगर हम लोग देखते हैं एक डॉग है या कैट है, एलिफेंट है, हॉर्स है, तो ये तो सब जो हो गए वो लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स हो गए. और नॉन लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स में हम लोग कुछ भी जो देखते हैं जिसमें कि कोई भी अगर माउंटेन हो या फ्लैट हो या कुछ भी चेयर हो, टेबल हो, कुछ भी, ये जो आता है ये इट कम्स अंडर द नॉन लिविंग थिंग. और इस नॉन लिविंग थिंग को हम इनएनिमेट मैटर भी कहते हैं. क्या कहते हैं बेटा? इनएनिमेट मैटर. सो व्हेन यू ऑब्जर्व when you observe observe you observe two kinds of things. One is living thing, another is non-living thing. Non-living things are also called as inanimate animate thing. So on what basis we are able to identify whether the that organism, so whatever the things we are observing, whether it is living or non-living? The question arises, it may arise in our mind, what differentiate living thing from non-living thing? The answer to this question is certainly the presence of cells. Okay. Cell is the basic unit of all the living organisms. Okay. What is the basis for identification of living as well as non-living? It is the cell, presence of cell. Okay. So living organisms are characterized by presence of cell. Cell is what? Cell is the basic unit of life. We'll definitely going to see in detail what exactly is cell is about. But अगर हम लोग यहाँ पर आइडेंटिफाई या डिस्टिंग्विश करना चाहते हैं non-living, yeah, inanimate things from that of the living things, then it is on the basis of presence of cell. Okay. Now अब हम लोग concentrate करेंगे living organisms. So these living organisms, they are made up of cells. Okay. Now these living organisms that can be of two different types. Okay. One is your unicellular unicellular and second is your multicellular. Okay. So if we carefully observe these two words, then we'll come to know it, this word unicellular is made up of two different words. One is uni, another one is cellular. In the same way, this multicellular is again made up of two different words, multi and cellular. So uni means what? These living organisms, as we talked about, that these living organisms, they are either maybe unicellular organisms or multicellular organisms. So on what basis they are characterized or they are distinguished as unicellular organisms or multicellular organisms? The basis for that is presence of number of cells that particular organism is having. Means in any organism, if that organism entirely contain one or the single cell, then that organism is called as unicellular. You can here understand, you will clearly understand that uni means single and cellular means cell. Okay. C means the organisms are, or they can be unicellular, means having only a single cell. So therefore, in latter, we'll talk about that cell is having independent existence. What it means entire organism can be a single cell. Okay, so that cell is capable of doing all the activities needed for the living, and therefore there is a existence of unicellular organisms. So what can be the examples of unicellular organisms? You may find unicellular organisms in bacteria, bacteria. You know the example of E. coli or Escherichia coli, it is the unicellular bacteria. Agrobacterium tumefaciens is there, which is important in the field of genetic engineering. That is again unicellular bacteria. So these bacteria, these prokaryotes, we'll talk later on this, what is prokaryote and what is eukaryote. But for time being, just remember these bacteria, even certain type of fungi, that is, you can say fungi. In fungi, you will see yeast. Yeast. Yeast is a unicellular fungi which is required or which is used in the process of alcohol fermentation. That is again the single cell structure. Okay. So unicellular organisms means organisms with single cell, right? So that only a single cell is capable of doing all the activities. Whereas in multicellular organisms, you will find many different cells. Okay, many cells. Multi means many, cells means cellular means cells. So in many cells, you will find the example as higher groups, higher groups of plants and animals. Okay, higher groups of plants and animals. Say for example, angiosperm is the advanced group which is having multicellular structures, or even take the example of human being, we are also multicellular organisms. Okay, so with this we'll talk about the next point, that is the what is cell. Okay, what is cell? Now move towards the next thing. So cell, in our NCRT book, cell can be defined, or what cell is, what it is, the smallest entity, smallest entity which is capable of first independent existence in sorry independent existence, and second, it is able to perform all the essential function, all the essential function. Okay, so what is cell? Cell is the smallest entity, smallest thing which is having two main things or two main criteria on the basis of which we can identify that, we can define that it is a cell. So this cell is having independent existence. Means cell will not depend on other thing to perform its activities, to perform its function. Cell independently performs all the functions which are required. Even if it is in multicellular organisms, every cell perform its duties or its part which is required. So that cell, therefore we find unicellular organisms. Because of this, means every cell is having independent existence, right? And second thing is here they are able to perform all the essential functions, okay. So in your NCRT book it is mentioned that anything less than the structure of cell, anything less than structure of cell is not capable of independent living. Independent living means to carry out or to have the independent existence, at least the one cell structure should be there. If certain things are missing from that cell, then that particular structure will not be able to live the independent living, okay. So I hope with this, if we define the cell, the cell can be defined as the fundamental structural and functional unit of living organisms. Structural and functional unit of living organisms, okay. Now in your book there is a mention of two different scientists. First is your Anton v Leeuwenhoek, Leeuwenhoek, who was the Dutch microbiologist. He was the first scientist, he was the first to observe and describe the live cell. He was the first scientist, and therefore he is called as the father of microbiology. Also, he is also called as the father of microbiology. Okay. He was the first to identify, to observe, and to identify the structure of the cell. Which structure he observed? He observed the structures of bacteria, the structures of RBCs in the human beings. Then he also observed the structure of protozoa, okay, primitive organisms, okay, and hence he is called as the father of microbiology. There was another scientist mentioned in your NCRT book, that is the Robert Brown. Robert Brown, he was the Scottish botanist. What he observed for the first time, he observed the nucleus in the cell of orchid, orchid roots. Okay. Orchidaceae is one family of the plants. These orchids, they are particularly known for their property of being epiphytes, means they can grow on other plants and they take the support of other plant only. For the support purpose they grow on other plants. They will not use any type of food material from the host plant on which they grow. They only grow there for the support, okay. Not like that of the parasites which sucks the food from the host plant. So they are called as epiphytes. So in these orchid roots, Robert Brown, for the first time, he observed the nucleus in the cell, okay. Now he is also known for the Brownian motion. Just for information, to just remember that the zigzag motion of the pollen grains he observed, that is the important concept in the field of chemistry. And if you require more knowledge, you just go and search for Brownian motion. You will understand what is Brownian motion. Okay. So with this, the development of microscopes and its improvisation, its development further to the electron microscope, which is having the resolution of around 10 nanometers. 10 nanometers means around 1 angstrom, 10 raised to minus 10. Okay. Up to this resolution, the electron microscope can observe the things. You may find two kinds of electron microscope like SEM, which is called as scanning electron microscope, or TEM, which is transmission electron microscope. So this, with the help of this microscope, it has become very easy to observe the very minute structures. Okay, so I hope you got a basic idea about the cell. What is cell? First we discussed about what is living, what is non-living. So distinguish, we got the answer that the presence of cell make the organism living. Then we have seen the different types of organisms, like unicellular organism, like multicellular organisms. Then we discussed about the properties of the cell, that it has the independent existence and it is able to perform all the essential functions. Then we have seen the definition of cell. And finally, we talked about these two scientists, A.B. Leeuwenhoek and Robert Brown, and their contribution in the field of invention regarding the cells. Okay. So, dear students, in this video, we will stop here. And in next video, we'll talk about the cell theory, which is very interesting thing. Till then, bye bye.